So, I have been playing a bit of the new Settlers, the Settlers' new allies to be precise, and it brought me in a position where I created this channel only to give an honest opinion about the game, as I am a big fan of the series who played all the Settlers titles which has been released in the past. There's going to be a footage in the background of this video, but keep in mind that I'm playing on Nvidia GeForce Now, and since I'm currently moving houses, my connection kind of sucks. The reason why I decided to make this video is that there is a lot of controversy about the game and its general direction in which it's trying to go. The old squad, the fans, well, they wanted an economy-based city builder, but they got a mixture of the Settlers, the typical The Settlers game, mixed with an RTS, which is bad for them, frankly, but I think it's a good step towards the future of the franchise. Now, let me explain myself before you make your own decision, please. If you are a real fan of the Settlers, you probably know that every title of the franchise was a bit different. They were always trying to do something new, and that's a good thing. If you want to appeal to a large audience, then, a few people who would mostly choose to play the Settlers out of some nostalgia. Well, yeah. Today, the human brain is being affected by the world around us. Well, it always was, but today more than before. Lately mostly by social media, which are teaching us, the mass majority of people, to consume shorter, easier processed data. And a good example of that would be probably a TikTok video or YouTube Shorts. Following this trend, it only makes sense to make the game's economy a little bit simpler, in favor of a bigger aim for more competitive RTS gameplay. It is still the Settlers, but it is also something else, and again I think that if the developers keep working on it, keep fixing bugs, balancing and adding more content, the game has actually a bright future and a huge potential. Now, why do I think so? Well, for many reasons. The number one probably being the fact that the game is being released on PC, Nvidia GeForce Now as mentioned, PlayStation, Xbox and Nintendo Switch, and also for Luna. And with that comes crossplay. That brings a huge player base, and I never was one to judge anyone by their preferred platform, so I'm open to play with all of them. That being said, the game is not without its issues. In fact, there's quite a bit of them in the first week from the launch. Although which game releases without any issues today is another question, right? The most important thing for me is that the developers are, to my surprise, actively working on fixing their mistakes, and they are even communicating with the community's feedback. Now, that is something unexpected from Ubisoft, but certainly worth mentioning. Ubisoft, they don't have the best track record as of late, but if they are willing to redeem themselves and try and make the game better for the future and take care of it, I'm open for that. Now the game has in-game cash shop for cosmetics items only, which, even if controversial again, is a good thing. It adds a sense of progression, as everything can be bought simply by playing the game and getting its currency. It also brings additional income for the developers, making them able to work on it for the years to come. I could list all the issues and all the good things, but I will give you an honest summary instead, and I will redirect you into the community's groups in the description below, where you can get all the information you need. The game itself, playing it, it's an absolute blast for me. It is great and I love it, even though it needs a little bit of work. It needs a little bit more depth, or let's say more victory conditions, but it's all confirmed at this point and they will be adding it, so I'm okay with that once again. The price tag is another topic we should address though. It's high. It's quite a bit high for a game that has some issues, but I think it's worth it, and I would recommend getting it and setting a timer for 2 hours before you start it for the first time. You can ask for a refund if you don't feel satisfied within these 2 hours, in which you can actually try the game. Let's move to the gameplay and have a talk about what you're currently seeing on your screens. As you might have already noticed, there are quite a few differences from the previous The Settlers releases. The most obvious one probably being the hexagon grid in which you can build. I once again mentioned that some veterans of the series are not pleased by this grid because it was not present in the previous games. This is not really the case though, as there was also a grid even in the first The Settlers released in 1991. It just wasn't as obvious as it is here. The reason for the grid is probably that the developers had the console release in mind for a long time, and the UI is simply adjusted for the console market as well as for PC. You can still rotate everything you build, and the grid adapts to the various angles under which you're trying to build your structures. The overall vibe I'm getting from the game is still quite a bit Settlers-y, so to say. The colors are vibrant, graphics looks great, and the soundtrack is really awesome. You can hear your settlers talking to each other, commenting the difficulty of their job, and maybe occasionally chilling around, playing on guitars, while there is too many of them and you are not putting everyone to use. The match I'm currently playing is a PvP battle against a random player, so the pace at which I'm playing is a bit faster, even though I'm making plenty of mistakes along the way. To list a few more major differences from the previous games, I will mention that your units can now be controlled and have unique abilities like setting traps, revealing a certain area on the map, and so on. All those abilities as well as worker commands are assigned to a certain keys, so the gameplay can be quicker controlled. Your workers, called engineers in this game, can do various tasks, and for the first time your borders can actually be expanded by those workers as well as with your buildings, which was the case in the previous games. I will fast forward to the end of the match because it took over 40 minutes. I made myself an infrastructure behind building a bit of an army and some defenses. I didn't rush too many scouts, which is the common strategy right now, in an effort to finish the game too early, as that's really not my playstyle. But it felt like after the enemy stopped my initial attack, it was the time to strike again. If the enemy knew better what he was doing, he would have given me much harder time, and the match could have gone for much longer. But such scenarios will be up to you to see for yourself, if you'll want to get the game or if you'll want to watch more videos about it in the future. Even though I'm not looking to build a big YouTube channel here, I'd like to ask you to comment your opinions down below so the algorithm can show this video to more people as an honest opinion about the game. Thank you for listening and have a great day.